Okay, so let's talk about some of the mineral, nutrient, protein. I mean, all of us are hearing the protein question too many times, the protein myth. I mean, and I personally have received that question over 1,000 times, I'm sure. So from a dietary requirement, I mean, what are the things that you need to look at? Proteins, minerals, deficiencies, other different things that are really important to look at when you're coming into a plant-based diet lifestyle?
Thanks. I forgot to mention when I introduced myself that I just recently published a book called Vegan for Life with another dietitian, Ginny Messina, and I'll be signing copies of that in the bookstore at 12:30. And that's basically what our book goes over. At least half the book is devoted to making sure vegans get the proper nutrition. So I'm just going to quickly run through some of the nutrients. Vitamin B12 is probably the most important one. You get that through fortified foods and supplements. Vitamin D through sunshine or supplements. Calcium from leafy greens, but you have to eat lots of leafy greens regularly, or you can get it through non-dairy fortified milks. Iodine, either through seaweed or supplement. In terms of sports nutrition, if you are an endurance athlete, especially for premenopausal women, it's a good idea to get your iron levels checked occasionally to make sure that you aren't getting too low on iron. And research has shown that strength or speed athletes, that vegetarian strength or speed athletes can benefit from creatine supplements more than meat eaters. And if you are a strength or speed athlete, including legumes in each meal for protein is also a good idea.
The genetically modified soy and corn is different than the non-GM soy and corn in terms of nutrition. The process of inserting a gene and then cloning the cell into a plant causes massive collateral damage in the DNA, and up to 5% of existing genes can change their levels of expression. That is why, for example, with genetically engineered soy, it has lower levels of protein, lower levels of essential amino acids, and up to 7 times the amount of a known allergen called trypsin inhibitor. With their corn, it has a new allergen that's not found in normal corn. In addition to these untested changes in the nutrients, you have some additional components that you don't want. In the soy, for example, you have Roundup, which is an herbicide that's linked to cancer, Parkinson's disease, endocrine disruption, and other things. And it concentrates, it bioaccumulates in the soybean. In the corn, you may also have Bt toxin, designed to break open the stomach of insects and kill them. They said that it's destroyed in human digestion, so there's no worries, but they found it in 93% of pregnant women in Canada and 80% of their unborn offspring. So the nutritional value is different between GM and non-GM.
After 40 years of medical practice, 30 years of nutritional counseling, I've not seen a vegan deficient in protein. It's become a shorthand for other nutrients. And to make a long story short, best thing I can tell you is eat whole foods. The processed foods are a real issue. These concentrated, refined sugars and fats and oils, not healthy for you. You want to base your diet around breakfast of fruit and oatmeal, and lunches and dinners should be based around soups and salads and steamed greens and lentil stews and bean burritos. But have a big plate of steamed greens every day and chew your food to a cream. This is high fiber food. Unless you break up those cell walls, you're not going to absorb the nutrients. You are not what you eat, you are what you absorb. And so take the time, put the bloody fork down and make broccoli puree in your mouth before you swallow it, and you're going to get a lot more nutrition out of the food. And don't forget your B12 and have a handful of walnuts for omega-3 fats, and you ought to be fine.
Well, we're fortunate to have 2 highly revered nutrition experts on our panel, so I'll leave the detail to them. But, we are conditioned to believe that the only sources of calcium and protein that we can get and is absorbable is from animal products, and that's just not true. Eating a varied, healthy, whole foods, plant-based diet, you can get all the nutrition you need. I know personally that's the way I've been eating for 16 years, and it's so far so good. So, yeah.
Basically what I, ditto on what everyone else has said. For me, it's fairly elemental just to keep a varied whole foods diet. again, and the whole, again, I'll leave it up to the experts, but the whole protein myth is exactly that. I've had folks in my restaurant customers that feel they're not getting enough protein when I could easily show them how our composed plates have across the boards a bit of everything on it. So there you go.